Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, that
Unable to talk.
unable to speak. Joined as always, I'm still tasting lighter fluid.
Oh my God.
Joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing wife, the lovely Monique.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, still coming to you from a tent.
Yes, we're
Doing
still in the tent.
hunky dory. It's
Yeah.
actually a nice evening tonight. Nice, cool, comfortable temperature. Like I said, I still taste lighter fluid. Not
Why
as
don't you
bad
share
as
why?
you had. Well, I will because I don't mind when I share my flaws because I'm human just like everybody else. So, I we recently when we moved, well, we got a charcoal grill
Before we moved.
well before we moved, but I never used it, and I've never cooked with charcoal before until just a couple weeks ago. So we got these new, what are they called?
It's like a hickory smoked charcoal. So it's like wood mixed with charcoal. So it's supposed to give that like it's hickory wood.
I think it's called like cowboy charcoal or something like
Yeah.
that. So it was like a different, because obviously, with the smoke, you get a different flavor on the meat or whatever you're cooking. So we got that just recently, and I tried it for the first time tonight, and it like went out on me after I'd already put meat on there. I noticed all of a sudden nothing's lit anymore. Like, what happened? Because it was going for a while before I threw the meat on, and then it just like went out. So I was frustrated. So I went, and you were standing there with me. I got more lighter fluid to try to light up, try to get it going again.
Did it need it to begin with?
It Here's the thing. The packaging or whatever says that it lights fast and easy. I was sitting there for a while trying to light it with the lighter. Had the flame going on it for a while, and it didn't catch. So I resorted to getting lighter fluid, and then of course it lit, but it went out. So I was a little befuddled, if you will. So we had the meat on there. It had been
Mostly
cooked, but then everything kind of just went out. And nothing was happening. So I got more lighter fluid, not thinking, and I moved
Can you
the
guess
meat.
where this is going?
I moved the meat aside. I didn't spray the meat with lighter fluid or anything like that. Moved it aside to just kind of. I didn't put much. I just sprayed a little bit just to try to light again and get the little area where the meat was cooked. We didn't spray the whole grill or anything, just to get it going again. And I sprayed it, forgot to light the thing to get it going, and I put the meat back on, just I guess out of habit, whatever, wasn't thinking, lit it, and of course the flame comes up, it starts cooking the meat, but obviously when the flame comes up, it's coming up
burning that lighter fluid.
And so yeah, our steaks.
And my steak was on the side where you sprayed all the lighter fluid.
Your steak was rough. I mean, mine I could taste it. It wasn't like horrible. It was.
I eat my steak and I'm thinking, I think this tastes like lighter fluid. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I forgot to tell him, you got to let lighter fluid burn off.
Yeah,
you can't just like.
I wasn't thinking.
Yeah. So and then like after a few bites, my mouth is feeling like tingly, which I'm assuming is from the lighter fluid. And I couldn't eat it. I was just like, no, this is not good. I should not be eating this.
Yeah, just not good at all. And I took a bite of yours and I was like, holy cow.
So
yeah. So yeah, me being a newbie to the whole charcoal grilling thing. Not to a grill. I've grilled before, just not with the charcoal.
We learn as we go. This is like our whole thing here. We learn as we go. That's like
I make lots of mistakes. And that's
okay.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't feel like, I feel bad that happened, obviously, because you had to, that happened to your food and everything.
Had to like.
But I mean, I don't feel bad when I make mistakes. Like, that's how you learn.
No.
I grew up in the city my whole life. I'm a city guy. Like, but living where we live now, I love it. It's fantastic. Like, this is what I've always wanted. And now that we're having it and experiencing it, it's like, this is awesome. Like, I'm so happy here, but there's so much that I need to learn. And I'm, 40 plus years old learning stuff that most people, well, I don't even know if most people do anymore or did, but stuff like cooking with a charcoal grill. I never did it. It was always like a gas grill or whatever. Or more recently, the Ninja grill that you plug into the wall.
Yeah.
One of those. So yeah, it's just the charcoal thing was new. So
yeah, that's okay.
I make mistakes.
And speaking of mottos, I feel like the most common mottos we have here are we learn as we go.
Yes.
Let's fuck around and find out.
Well, yeah, but we're careful with that one though.
Yes. Obviously. And then fuck ticks.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just so many ticks here.
I didn't know that was our motto, but yeah, no.
We say it enough. Fuck these ticks.
Damn ticks. Get out of here. Yeah.
So I want to share last night, before we get into the topic at hand. Last night we're in the tent and you're going to hear all the wildlife. And there's most of the wildlife that we're pretty familiar with the sounds. And we were leaving the tent, walking to the house to use the bathroom, and we heard a really weird sound. And it sounded like a mix of almost like if you took the audio of a dog barking and then somebody kind of grinding metal and put it together. That's kind of what it sounded like.
Of it, sure.
It was very bizarre. And I thought, is that an animal? Is it like, or could it be a bird? I don't know. So then a little later on, we are coming back from the tent and we hear this sound. And I found out what it was. I had to look it up, but I want to play it for everyone. I'm going to put the volume up on my phone. So keep in mind, like you're going to hear like regular bird sounds, and then you're going to hear the sound. Listen again. Come on. Oh, hold on. I started at the end of this thing. Okay.
Nice going. Way to have your.
Yeah.
Way to have your clip queued up.
That is a barred owl.
I was gonna say most people listening probably like, it's an owl.
It's an owl. But the thing was, it was so loud. It sounded like
it was right outside.
It did. And at first I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna be some kind. Yeah, it's gonna be like really close. Yeah. But what was weird is we heard that ooh, 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 ooh sound, right? Mm-hmm. But then we heard another one, and it sounded like somebody maybe like 100 feet from us might have been like mimicking that sound because it was so loud. It
sounded very human,
and it was like stronger. It did. It sounded like a person, but nobody was out there. We don't really have many neighbors.
Well, the neighbors are not 100 feet away. They're a lot further.
Yeah, they're far. So, and it was just really bizarre because it was like one was going and then the other was going. And the other was louder and closer. And it was really bizarre because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is an animal, but I can't tell if the other one is a person making that sound or if it's just another animal doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're sleeping in a tent at night, got to worry about those things, the animals that might try to, you just think like, what can try to get inside of here?
Yeah, I don't know if any animals that are around here could we
have bears
inside. Well, yeah, but does a bear know how to?
It'll just rip its way through.
Well, yeah, I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
I suppose. But anyway, and we broke ground finally.
Yes, we broke ground.
We broke ground
and hit granite
and hit lots of granite, and then had to bring in the jackhammers and the drills to get all that granite chipped away. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun to watch and hear.
And the best part is, I'm not home. Alex sends me a text message. We might not have a basement. And I start freaking out because we need that extra space because our place is going to be smaller from what we had and we just need that space. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? We're not going to have a basement. And I start kind of going into panic mode of like, okay, now I need to make a plan. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? fuck it. We'll just get a big ass barn. Half of it will be for storage and the other half will be for the animals. And this is all within like 15 minutes of time. And then I was like, you know what? If the universe doesn't want me to have a to have a basement, then I'm not meant to have a basement. And I accept that. And then like after that happened, he sends me a message. Oh, they're breaking through. Looks like we will.
And they, yeah, they had this like jackhammer on I don't know what
Like
you
a
call it.
huge
Just
jackhammer
huge
on the like
on like an excavator
attached to
type
the
thing.
excavator.
I'm sure there's a word for it. I don't know what it is. I, again, still trying to learn this stuff. But yeah, they were going to town on this granite, and it, I mean, huge slab of, we're basically on a ledge.
Yeah.
We're on a mountain, for crying out loud. So and so they're breaking through, and they get a good portion of it broken away, and then they said, we're going to bring in a bigger drill tomorrow.
And my thought is, how much is this costing us?
Yeah, of course. And so because I'm out there watching, and I'm just like, oh my god, like at first, like when I texted you, oh, we're not gonna have a basement, like because the guy's like, I don't know how thick this is, we're gonna try to break through it, but I don't know how. I mean, you know, because they got to go at least 8 feet into the ground, if not more, because we, you know, you want to have a good sized basement and everything. So anyway, yeah, when I texted you that's what I thought was happening, and then go out there a little bit later and find out that they were able to break through, and they're going to bring a bigger drill. And then when they brought the bigger drill, those guys, I mean, bless them, they were awesome. They just worked straight on through from like 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. No lunch break, no break. They were just going to town. Just
They
two
got
guys,
us our basement.
and they got us our basement. It was a sight to see. It was crazy. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they were taking the excavator and lifting up this huge boulder and
At first,
dropping it down to try to see if they could break the rock. Nothing. Like, I'm telling you, this boulder had to be, it was huge, like a huge, I can't even estimate how many hundreds of pounds it was, but wasn't making a dent. It was crazy. But
and to get to our topic at hand, one of the things we've noticed up here is, and every time we see it, we get so pissed off. Chemtrails. You think like, oh, we're up in like kind of nowhere, New Hampshire, but nope. Chemtrails everywhere. Those fucking
everywhere.
chemtrails.
Yeah.
So I actually started working on this before we moved, and we just haven't had a chance to record it. But I started thinking about like my memories and what I remember being told about chemtrails, and going into the things we've heard, read about, learned, and just I have some stuff written up.
So if anybody listening that's like our age, like for late 30s, early 40s, if you think back when you're a kid growing up in like the late 70s, early 80s, or the 80s period, the sky used to be blue, and you didn't used to see these streaks in the sky.
And there were only certain types of clouds.
Right. And it was 1992 when they first started doing this. And it's obviously in the last 10 years has become really prevalent,
where it's like really
everywhere.
crisscrossing and everything.
Everywhere. Yeah. And I mean, I'd heard about chemtrails on all the conspiracy theories around them for years and years. And I always would look up at the sky and just be like, what is that? Like, what are they doing? Like, why is that happening? So we'll go into, and we'll give like a little history. You did a lot of research. You got some great information there. And then we can talk about how it's not a conspiracy anymore, because it's openly been
and
admitted to now.
The word conspiracy theorist kind of has to do with all this too. So
great.
I remember clear blue skies when we were kids. Sun gazing was never a problem, and there were only a few types of clouds. I remember it was sometime in the 90s when we started to notice that planes would fly in the sky and leave a cloud trail behind them. And it usually didn't last in the sky for long, fading off after a few minutes. I remember my dad telling me they were contrails, which were just the exhaust from the planes and jets. Over the years, I noticed that the trails lasted longer. Then there were more planes with these trails. And as we saw more planes with trails lasting longer and longer, we could sometimes see grids and patterns form as if they were trying to spread that trail out to cover a certain area. We heard after some time that these trails were referred to as chemtrails. We were told contrails are the exhaust from planes, and chemtrails were chemicals being sprayed from the planes. Over the past couple of decades, chemtrails have been considered a conspiracy theory. And what have we learned about conspiracy theories?
You wait 6 months and they come true,
Mm.
especially lately.
These days, when you search online, chemtrails are referred to as quote unquote chemtrail conspiracy. So if you do a search, they refer to it as a chemtrail conspiracy. And there are a number of articles stating that they are totally harmless, and many even claim they're just, in fact, contrails. So what do the quote unquote experts have to say? Well, according to theawesomer.com, they had a yes,
Awesomer.com.
theawesomer.com, AWESOMER.
This is an expert.
This is, yeah. So this was an article they posted. What are chemtrails and why shouldn't you fear them? And it went on to read, the cloudy white lines that aircraft sometimes leave behind in their wake are commonly known as chemical trails or chemtrails, but they're technically called contrails, short for condensation trails. And there's a link for reactions pointed out, that's because they're mostly water. And I think if I remember when I clicked that link, it did not work. Then scientificamerica.com had an article by Everyday Einstein Sabrina Stierwalt. Sabrina went on to write, if you've never heard of chemtrails, don't fret. Before spending time in Southern California, I hadn't heard of them either. But whether it's being in the land of obsession with healthy living, or perhaps just being near a few major airports, I now hear about chemtrails quite frequently in SoCal. So what are chemtrails? Should we be worried about their effects on our health? Chemtrails, short for chemical trails, are what some call the white trails you see left behind as planes pass overhead. Believers in believers in the chemical aspect of chemtrails say those trails are actually clouds of chemicals used by the government or some other large-scale entity for a variety of nefarious purposes, from weather modification to human population control via sterilization to even mind control. These theories usually claim that normal jet plane output should dissipate quickly, so any clouds that do not disappear immediately must be full of additional undisclosed substances. Chemtrail theories are not only a US-based phenomena. Almost 17% of respondents in an international survey noted a belief in the existence of a, quote, secret large-scale atmospheric program, unquote, to be at least partly true. To address this concern, a group of 77 scientists published a report in the Journal of Environmental Research Letters after digging through the supposed evidence of the intent to poison us through chemtrails. These scientists are experts in atmospheric science, including the contributions of aircraft to the atmosphere, as well as atmospheric processes like how quickly or uniformly chemicals fall through the air to the ground. Of those 77 scientists, 76 said they found no evidence of a, quote, secret large-scale atmospheric program, unquote. That's 98.7%. Instead, they found that, quote, the data cited as evidence for such a program could be explained through other factors, including well understood physics and chemistry associated with the aircraft, unquote. In other words, the evidence pointed to the trails being simply the normal expected results of planes flying through the air. As for that one scientist noted in that one remote location, the levels of barium in the atmosphere were unusually high relative to the levels of barium in the soil. No claims were made that the reason for those elevated levels had to be a large scale chemical operation. But since that scientist was not convinced of a clear reason for the barium to be higher in the atmosphere there, they left the possibility open. So, according to everyday Einstein's Sabrina Stierwalt, it's fine because scientists said so.
This is the stuff that's just all over the internet, and
I'm not done.
oh, not with her, I hope.
Oh, with her, yes.
Okay, gosh.
There was another article from howstuffworks.com that essentially called anyone who did not go with the contrail narrative conspiracy theorists.
It's interesting. It's called a contrail.
Mm-hmm. They even referenced a fact sheet from the FFA, which was a non-working link. And I tried every which way to get to that link to find this information. The article did say if weather manipulation was the goal, that could be possible. They also state at the end of the article that regardless of theories, that many studies have shown contrails to have a negative impact on the environment because it's not just water and vapor, but also other byproducts of engine exhaust, including carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfate particles, and soot. So they went on making fun of anyone who thought that something harmful is coming from these planes and almost making fun of us. And then went on to say, oh yeah, but it's not really that great for you even as is. So, So I wanted to see what the quote unquote conspiracy theorists are saying. So there seem to be many thoughts on what chemtrails, aka geoengineering, are doing. So let's take a look at the most popular theories.
All right, so these are
the theories.
The conspiracy theories.
Yes,
right?
Because to pull up articles, there's so many different things from so many different people and groups. It was easier just to go over the actual theories of what this is. So the biggest issue seems to be weather manipulation, which our government has a deep history of experimenting, or should we say, quote unquote, researching how to control weather. Lyndon B. Johnson famously and excitedly, Lyndon, sorry, famously and excitedly said, "He who controls the weather controls the world." It seems our government has been experimenting with weather manipulation since the 1940s, but it could be even further back than that. Operations and projects like Cirrus, Cumulus, Skyfire, Storm Fury, and many others have been conducted in attempts to create and control hurricanes, monsoons, tornadoes, drought, and more. The US government began cloud seeding, which is when they would use the planes to add dry ice and silver iodide into the clouds to manipulate cloud behavior. Over the years, it is believed they began adding nanoparticles of aluminum, cadmium, which is metal similar to zinc and mercury, and strontium, which is another metal commonly used to help strengthen bones, yet some forms of it, such as strontium 89, is considered a radioactive material. Strontium 89 is a radioactive isotope produced by nuclear fission and dispensed as a prescription for cancer patients. There are other metals, toxins, and chemicals believed to also be added into the chemtrails, depending on who you ask. Other people think chemtrails may have to do with the spreading of these nanoparticles into our land to get into our food and water sources and our skin. So these nanoparticles can react with things like 5G, vaccines, whereby giving it a combination of these nanoparticles and something else like, for example, 5G, it could create a physical response such as illness, death, or mind control. And we recently talked a little bit about how the government tested mustard gas on its own military. And if you look at Agent Orange, which was a herbicide used for defoliation during the Vietnam War, wait, I apologize. That was never considered a war, but a conflict because the US Congress never declared it a war. So it's a conflict, not a war.
But
So the Vietnam conflict.
Okay.
The US government poured Agent Orange from the plains down upon the earth below to remove the foliage to get better views of the enemies. Agent Orange was known to cause many birth defects, cancer, deformities, and other problems in children whose parents were exposed to it. And of course, when our own veterans asked the government for help,
help for what?
asked for help because to like
from
help
them
for,
being exposed
for
to it.
benefits, for being exposed to it.
Yep.
The government denied any wrongdoing and harm caused. Right? Because oh no, that's not us. Not you're fine. Oh, and who helped produce Agent Orange? Companies including Dow and Monsanto.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yep. And also from what I researched, they would do weather manipulation to cause these monsoons to like rain out the enemy. So I say all that to say this. If the US government has been researching on its own citizens for over 80 years that we know of, why would people be in denial that they would be doing this to us now?
Well, here's the thing. Anybody listening or watching who thinks that they're not spraying chemicals and metals and things like that into the atmosphere, the government has now come out and said they are absolutely doing this in order to prevent global warming. The idea of these people, I hesitate to call them people because there's a lot of other more colorful words I'd like to use, but their idea is that they will reflect the sunlight and its heat back to the sun by spraying these chemicals. And it's insane, obviously, but think about what are they spraying? They're spraying aluminum. They've come out and said it. I mean, they said exactly what they're doing, and the aluminum, just the aluminum alone. Think about it. If aluminum's a toxic thing. Like, you shouldn't be ingesting it. You shouldn't be inhaling it. It shouldn't be in your body.
Oh, but they can put it in vaccines.
It shouldn't be in your body. Let me reiterate that. It should not be in your body.
Just to clarify.
Think about those when they drop a vaccine vial. Do they just go wipe it up? No, they got to put on like the hazmat suit and everything else. But no, but you can inject it into your body. It's fine.
Totally fine.
So there's that logic gap. But anyway, think about what has exploded in the last 30 to 40 years in this country, especially in this country. I don't know about a worldwide statistic, but in the United States alone, especially among the elderly, what has exploded? Something that wasn't really so common before that.
Dementia, Alzheimer's.
Dementia and Alzheimer's. And when they've done autopsies on the brains of dementia patients, people with Alzheimer's that passed away, huge concentrations of aluminum in the brain. Do you think maybe that's a contributing factor?
Could be.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
And what are they doing? They're spraying this shit all the time, everywhere, and it's just falling down on you. You're breathing it in. It's not
safe. It's just condensation from the plane.
Yeah, it's just the contrail thing. Con being short for condensation, but having
more
a double,
like another kind of.
But it's got a double meaning. Yeah. They're conning you into believing this crap, and the majority of people fall for it. And now, especially like people that have been born in the last 20 years, they're just used to seeing it. They're used to you see it in movies, you see it in TV. You just think, oh, that's just the sky. That's what it is. It's just planes flying overhead. No big deal.
There's 15 new types of clouds.
They've named, yes, and they're all
chemtrails. They're all from chemtrails.
They're all chemtrail clouds. Yeah, it's insane. But
I'm waiting for them to get one called the tic-tac-toe cloud because it's just lines.
The grid pattern.
Yeah, the grid pattern. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but that's what's going on. And it's insane to me. And again, they say that they're trying to stop now I'm sorry, it's not global warming anymore. Now it's climate change. That's the new buzzword. That's how you say it now. Whatever.
I guess my thing with that, this is how I approach this. If they're coming out saying, yes, we're doing this, we are spraying out there, but it's for this. I don't believe that what they're spraying for. I don't believe the reason. I don't think they're truthful, but I believe that's their way of coming out and saying, well, we told you we were doing this.
Yes, exactly. And it's the United States government's doing it, but they're doing it not just here. They're doing it all over the world.
Yeah.
This is happening everywhere.
I feel like we need a button for the soundboard from Hot Fuzz with the greater good every time the government's like, but it's for the greater good. But that's how they play it. Like we're doing this to help you. I'm sorry. Anytime the government wants to help me, I need to run away. Like get the fuck away from me. I don't want your help. I don't need it.
Yeah.
That should be right there. A huge red flag. Government wants to help me. We're fucked. They're doing something. That's my mindset.
What are they really doing?
Yeah.
What's the end game here?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, most times you don't know what the end game is because it's been very well hidden. And a lot of times, especially now in the age of the internet, where you have these, what is it, Awesomer or whatever the heck the site was you said, and the Einstein girl or whatever she is.
Everyday Einstein.
These are things that are put out there to obviously as disinformation, but also to propagandize the public. That's legal now in this country. Has been since 2014.
Yep.
It was being done before then, but now it's legal. So
now
whatever.
It's legal. It can be done.
And so, but most people don't know that because it's not like that's widely reported. And
why would the news report it when they can basically say whatever they want without getting in trouble?
And who wants to actually do the work and research anything anymore, even though the information's out there? Nobody wants to do the work to find it. And when they do find it, what do you do with it? Because you're surrounded by people that just don't care. They're just indifferent to it. They don't care. Many years ago, probably coming up on 10 years now, in my prior line of work, I was summoned to somebody's home. They're having an issue with the service, and they were saying they would not let me into their house now, which was kind of silly because the service is in their house and I had to go in the house to check it. But the gentleman who I was there for met me outside and said, no, you're not coming in. You don't have to come in. It's outside. I said, okay, can you explain what's going on? And he's like, it's that shit they're spraying in the sky. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, it's fucking up my internet. It's fucking up everything. It's that shit they're spraying in the sky. Come here. Look at my grass. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to his grass, and yeah, sure enough, his grass, his lawn, his neighbor's lawn, like all the houses on the street, whatever was, there was something on their lawn. It was like because I touched it. It was like an orange metallic kind of, it was weird. And he's like, yeah, they've been spraying this shit. It's killing all my plants. It's fucking up my grass. And I know that's what's causing the problem with my internet. I'm just like, I don't know how to fix that, sir. I don't have the capability to stop spraying in the sky. I don't know what to tell you. He's like, well, I wanted you to know about it. I'm like, okay, noted. I mean, what am I going to do? But I just thought, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This person who, he wasn't talking about conspiracy theories. He wasn't saying anything like that. He was just livid because everything around in his yard was dying, and his neighbors, same thing. And he was convinced it was the stuff they were spraying in the sky.
And you know what's really weird about that? I've had some people tell me that their plants, their crops that they've planted for this year aren't growing. They're not doing well. Like they grow, but they only get to a certain point and they're not doing very well. And there's a thought out there that maybe they're being sold bad seeds and that the seed manufacturers are doing this on purpose. You know, they're working with whoever because they want food shortages. So what are the smart people doing? They're starting to grow their own food. But if you get bad seeds, your food won't grow. So that's a thought. But I brought up, I don't know if it's bad seeds. It could be bad seeds, and it might just be there's some bad seeds out there. I don't know. But I wondered, could it be the fucking chemtrails? Or could it be the chemtrails working with something else in the atmosphere or something kind of energy in the air that is surrounding us? But
Your guess is as good as any. I mean,
I don't think it's natural that so many people are having trouble, because it's not like they're all dealing with drought or they're dealing with weather issues to cause crops not to completely grow, to grow to a certain point and then die. It's just
yeah,
weird.
it's very, yeah, it's very suspect that all this is happening. And I mean, really all you have to do is research Agenda 2020, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, all these things that have been out there. They're out there, but you're crazy if you look at them. You're just a conspiracy theorist if you look at them. But last I checked, gas is now almost $5 a gallon. That's, well, it's normal. And of course, that the cost of gas trickles down to everything else. So you're paying more for everything.
Yeah. This time
You're not
last year,
making more money, but
No.
you're paying more
No.
for everything,
this time last year, gas was like $2.94, I believe.
which is still insane.
Yeah.
But
to jump up like
anyway,
almost double.
yeah, and there's places in California where it's nearing $10 now, and
Yeah.
it's
They want to cripple you.
it's
all about control.
obviously this is an engineered thing. Everything that's going on is, and you got to wake up to it, everybody. You just got to wake up to it. What can you do about it? That's always the thing. We talk about these things, but what can be done? Honestly, I don't have a solution for the chemtrail thing. This is something that's worldwide. It's not just here anymore. And not to, and I don't even know if it was just ever just here. I don't know. But
and part of the issue, it's like catch-22, because all right, I'm gonna grow my food in a greenhouse, so that way whatever's getting sprayed won't go onto my plants. However, the soil you're using has been, I mean, it's been going on for so long, it's already been exposed by what's there. And any water, the water is exposed to those, whatever is in there. So you can't completely like get it out.
It's tough. That's the thing.
You can filter your water, but who knows like what kind of filters you need for what's in there.
Well, I mean, the stuff being sprayed, it's aluminum, the barium's another one. The radioactive isotope you were talking about, that, I mean, that's what they've come out and said is in there. That right there, just those three alone are harmful. You shouldn't be inhaled. It shouldn't be in your water.
Ingested.
It should, but that's what they admit. So who knows what else is in there? If there's anything else in there, who knows? But obviously something is going on. And now being up high at a higher elevation, when they come by now, it's like I'm that much closer to it. I just get that much more angry when I see it. Like, you bastards.
Oh, he gets so mad.
Oh, I get so,
I kind of
so
keep it
angry.
inside, but he lets it out more.
Sorry,
but
just
like
kicking the microphone here.
Yeah, multiple times. So one of the things though that we've discovered that can help with heavy metals in your system is chlorella.
Chlorella, yep. And I'll go every couple of months. I'll do a couple of weeks cycle of just taking some chlorella every day, because chlorella will bind and help detoxify any kind of heavy metals in your body and in your system. If you take some, is it the parsley?
Parsley.
Was it the parsley or was it another one? I can't remember.
Parsley has like so many good benefits.
The parsley helps to pull the heavy metal out of your system, out of your blood. And that's especially helpful for, obviously, the brain is what we worry about, because as you age, and the stuff collects up there, you don't want it staying there. So you take the parsley and you wait about 45 minutes to give it time to work. And then you take the chlorella, and then the chlorella will bind that metal. And obviously you eliminate it when you go to the bathroom.
And what's interesting about that is there are actually many different things you can use herbal combinations for. Like for my Lyme disease, I was taking cat's claw and teasel, because one would pull the Lyme out and the other one would like kill it. So there are combinations of things that you can do to do a better job, because a lot of times people will market something and say, oh, this works great, but the truth is it can work better. And by combining it with something else. So
Yeah.
that's why it's good to do your own research and find
do
out
your
like,
own research about all that kind of stuff, because and the thing with the chlorella, you have to make sure you're getting a good kind of chlorella, preferably one that was grown indoors, because that chemtrails that they're spraying is everywhere. It's all over the world. And if the chlorella that you're purchasing was grown outside, guess what? It's got all that metal in it, and you're taking it in and you're ingesting it. So you want to make sure you're getting it from somebody who, again, unless you're right there watching it, you don't know for sure, but somebody that it says that they're growing it. And
shouldn't chlorella be refrigerated?
It should be. I've heard a lot of people say that it doesn't have to be, but I've always refrigerated mine. It's an algae. That's essentially what it is. But from the person that I get mine from, and I'll put a link in the show notes. I'll find it and I'll put a link in there for anybody that may be interested in something like that. They had said it's probably best to refrigerate. So that's what I've done. Yeah. I've always kept it, and it's not something that goes bad. I don't think.
I don't think so.
But anyway, yeah, that's something to do. Definitely is the, and I'll put in some links for some different detox type things for heavy metals and things like that. But
yeah,
that's your solution, really.
Even trying to be self-sufficient, you're still dealing with fucking chemtrails.
Yeah, it sucks. But this is where we live. This is the playing field. And now you got to just figure out how to still play the game with when the rules keep getting stacked against you. What can you do to combat it? And that's not obviously what they want you to do, but fuck them.
Yep.
They say fuck you, so fuck you back.
Pretty much.
Sorry to get so vulgar, but I mean that's
he really hates chemtrails.
I can't stand it. Well, because it's something that I have no control over. That's harming me, harming my family, harming people I love. It's harming people.
Yes, I hate it too.
It's so that frustrates the hell out of me, because if I want to get in shape, I can work out. If I can eat right, I can control that. I can't control some asshole spraying shit in the sky that I have to breathe in when I go outside. Yeah, I sure. I wouldn't even joke about that nowadays.
Oh, true.
But I mean, you want to go outside now for a walk and get fresh air, and you're wondering, well, what? You got to look up in the sky. Well, there's a lot of chemtrails. Should I be outside right now?
True.
It's aggravating.
One thing that we've talked about that we're going to make is a cloud buster. So it's a form of orgonite, and it's big, and you have these copper pipes that come up, and it points up at the cloud.
You shouldn't talk about that. You shouldn't publicize that. They're going to come for us now. They're going to extra spray around us now. You shouldn't talk about that. We might have to edit that out. But there are solutions anyway. As Monique was saying, there's solutions. There's things you can do. Do they work? We don't know. I guess only time will tell. But if you don't think that there's forces at hand that are trying to control you, shorten your lifespan and the lifespan of your families, your family, your loved ones, your friends, then you're nuts. You're crazy. You are just ignorant at this point.
You're delusional.
Because it's so in your face now that if you don't see it, I don't know what else to do.
Again, that is my whole point, is all this stuff comes out. We've talked about it in previous episodes where our government has come out and admitted they lied to us, admitted they did harm to us as public, and even with their own military, they come out and admit it. So how many times do we just let them? Okay, I forgive you because you give me stuff and you look out for my health and safety. It's like a freaking abuser. It's an abusive relationship.
What do you mean I forgive you because you give me stuff? What does the government give you?
The government. Oh, they're giving us what was the money for during COVID?
Jesus.
Obama was giving out cell phones. They want to get you into their system. They want you dependent on them, suck from their teat. That's what they want.
Pretty much. Pretty much. on that, with you mentioned the C word that I don't really like to give a lot of energy to, but I saw that there was 2,200 people, politicians and celebrities that were on a list that got the card saying they got the thing
The
that
jab,
that
yeah.
everybody wants you to get. Yeah, I don't want to say the word because it might kick us off or whatever. But and obviously they didn't. But they got the card saying they did. Yeah.
Course. And they're telling you.
But they're telling you have to get it.
They won't do it for real, but they want you to.
You get it though.
What does that say? What does that tell you?
It's that you're a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, so that's chemtrails. I mean, there's a lot of really great information out there. Again, we'll put links in the show notes. We watched a documentary called Frankenskies.
Yes.
By a gentleman by the name of Matt Landman. We'll put the link to his website in the show notes. It was good. It was a lot of information in there that I didn't know previously, but again, all stuff that you can research. Monique did and was able to verify everything that was in that documentary. It's just doing it and actually taking the time and caring enough to find out, is this a real thing? Is this just a conspiracy theory? Is this just some mumbo jumbo nonsense? Should I believe the everyday Einstein person, or the awesomest.com person, or awesomer, whatever? Or should I believe the actual government documentation that admits to it? I don't know.
And you know what's funny?
You tell me.
I just thought of like these places, they try to like puff themselves up, the awesomer, everyday Einstein, making themselves seem so awesome, so smart.
It's called marketing, baby.
I know, but they're full of shit.
That's what they're paid to do. That's what they're paid to do.
So just remember that.
Keep that in mind, everybody.
When you feel something's wrong and somebody is trying to tell you, oh, it's fine, they're either an idiot or they're getting paid to tell you that. So
yeah,
those are the high odds.
Pretty much. That's it. So I got nothing else to add.
Yeah,
there's so much information.
There's so much, like I can't, I'd be sitting here for 3 hours talking about chemtrails.
And I'm going to keep kicking the microphone.
Yeah, you are. So I just wanted to talk about, that is what it is.
It's hard to get
you keep fidgeting. So I just wanted to bring up some of the stuff that I found, and I just wanted to point out the contrast, and especially how if you think chemtrails are real and that it's something causing harm, you are labeled a conspiracy theorist.
I mean, now at this point, it's look at what's admitted, and just what is admitted is harmful. So how can you argue that? That's my thing, is how can you argue what they've admitted, and if they're admitting to that, there's probably more that they're not admitting to.
Or what will they admit to years down the road?
Right on. Exactly. Exactly.
So just think about that.
Questions to ponder. But until next time, I don't know what we're going to talk about next time. And the schedule's been kind of wonky, and it's probably going to continue to be so for a bit.
We're so busy here. So
it's also just getting used to the new environment and everything. And we have to have cooperating weather, because if it's raining or anything like that, we can't record it, because all you're going to hear is rain. So it's kind of one of those things where we're putting these out as we can, and we're going to be as consistent as we can be, because that's something I'm a big believer in, that.
Yeah.
But
we appreciate everyone hanging.
We appreciate everybody hanging in there. We appreciate everybody that's still sticking with us.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And until next time, I am the Golden Greek, and I've been joined, as always, by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, the lovely Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_Monique Giselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to understandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion, and you can check out my website, alexarionfitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you.